It's a sweltering championship Sunday at Congressional in the final round of the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, the women's third major of the year, coming down the stretch where each and every round South Korea's Chun has slept on a significant lead. It was 3 to begin the day, but how things have changed in the early going of this final round, and Lexi Thompson is leading the charge right out of the gates for birdie at the first. Lexi has not won in 3 years. Her lone major came 8 years ago. That put some pressure on Chun, who was making some early bogeys. And then Lexi here with her second at the par 4 third. After parring the second, and Chun picking up a bogey there. Lexi bringing it back and using these slopes at Congressional to her advantage. Another birdie there, 2 birdies in the first 3 holes, while Chun has made 3 bogeys in the first 6 holes. And just like that, Thompson has the lead by herself over Se-Young Kim and Chun in the final round of the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. NBC Sports, the LPGA Tour, and the PGA of America are proud to present live final round coverage of the KPMG Women's PGA Championship, all part of the season-long race to the CME Globe. It's been one of the more recognizable scenes in all of golf through the years. Congressional Country Club. It's where Rory McIlroy won his first of 4 majors 11 years ago. Dave Stockton won the PGA Championship here. But for the first time, it hosts a women's major, and it does so with a much different look after an extensive renovation. The blue course just reopened last year, and today it will crown its first ever major women's champion. And boy, have things changed. It was a 5-shot lead for Chun after Thursday, 6 shots going into the weekend. It was as many as 7 yesterday, but it is all gone as Thompson has taken the lead on a very tough golf course today. Chun, not the only big-name player making bogeys and losing ground. There are some other players. Brooke Henderson, a winner here in this championship at +2 at the turn. Jennifer Kupcho also having some early struggles. And so not a lot of players under par on the golf course at all. As we get you out to the par 5 9th and the second shot for Chun in a tie for second now, and Kay Cockrell with this final threesome. Kay?
Yeah, certainly struggling at the start of today. Had a good opportunity for birdie at the last, missed it. Trying to get a good layup here on this very difficult par 5. Misses the fairway, not what she was looking for.
Joined here in the 18th tower with Morgan Pressel, major champion in her own right. The 9th Morgan finally playing under par today for the first time all week.
Yeah, it's been one of the hardest holes on this golf course, flirting between the first and second hardest holes. I think it's because the hole location today, Dan, in the front of the green makes it a little bit easier, but as we saw from there, Kay, it's a tough layup.
It is. The first and foremost, you want to hit it straight and ensure you're in the fairway, and also avoid the cross bunkers, and really for Lexi upcoming, she's going to maybe get it down. Has to be careful to not go too far down the slope.
It looks like Hedgen's going to go through the fairway here. There's a cart path that crosses the fairway. You can see the rough. That was an unusual layup. A little bit aggressive, got a lot of hook on the ball, so a little bit too much release there. Course is firming up. It's playing a lot differently out there today, Kay.
Completely differently with this wind and the heat of yesterday and today. I think Lexi learning from that shot of Hedgen's, going with the iron. Normally she goes for par 5s, but this is a 3-shot hole.
Looks like she got way ahead of that one.
Wow. Way right.
Upslope got me so bad.
She says the upslope got her so bad. Lexi Thompson, this will give you an idea of what kind of week it's been, not only for Chun, but the rest of the players chasing her. She trailed by 10 after opening round 74. Chun shot 64. And at the turn yesterday, Lexi Thompson trailed by 9. She finished up a good second 9 yesterday, went into today trailing by 3, and now has the lead by 1 as we get you out to Tom Abbott at that beautiful little par 3 by the clubhouse.
Yeah, got the tough par 5 ninth, but then a short hole at 10 back down the hill. John Wood is with this group as we watch Hannah Green.
Tough hole today, hitting down into the wind, but downhill so much. The ball gets really influenced by the wind a lot because it's in the air for so long.
Safe shot there by Hannah Green, past champion of this championship. Now back up to the tee with Se-Young Kim.
And Tom, the wind has picked up much harder than it's been blowing all week long. Really haven't had to deal with much at all. Plus it's been soft. Now the greens have firmed up. It's blowing hard. True championship Sunday out here right now.
Yeah, what a turnaround from Thursday morning when it was raining. It had storms come through this area Thursday afternoon, and through the night the golf course was wet. It was cool, and now it's hot, breezy, and the greens are firming up. We've got a top tracer technology presented by Rolex here for Se-Young Kim's tee shot.
And this is 8-iron for Kim. Tough to go at this flagstick today. It's cut so close to that right edge of that green.
You can see the flag on the right side, the big American flag there, lying right into the player's face, as John mentioned.
Slide it down, but turning over. This is left of the green unless it gets a bounce.
Oh, it's missed that sideboard that kicks the ball back towards the green. Yeah, that's going to be a tricky up and down for Se-Young.
Well, In-Gee Chun already has 2 major championships on her resume, Morgan, but this will give you an indication of how tough it is to sleep on the lead for this long. And all of a sudden, it has become not the In-Gee Chun story, but the last round final of a major for Lexi Thompson to see if she can finally get in the winner's circle again.
Yeah, it's been quite the whirlwind of a morning here at Congressional. What we expect to see, though, the golf course is really firming up, and Lexi's taken advantage of that, getting off to that hot start with the birdie, put herself in position. Let's see, can she get it done today? She needs to stay really mentally tough out there. Definitely her ball striking, when I was talking to her caddy on the range today, Will Davidson, he said it's the best. She can't hit it any better than she's been hitting it, so it's all about getting those putts in the hole coming down the stretch here on Sunday afternoon.
But it's been 50 tournaments since her last win. She's had a number of opportunities, not only in regular tour events where she's had 7 runner-up finishes since that last win 3 years ago, but major championship opportunities as well. We'll see how she handles the pressure in the throes of another major championship chance down the stretch here. And he's looking at Chun going through the motions here with her caddy Dean Herter. They took their time yesterday. It was a lengthy 3rd round for Chun and her group yesterday.
She is certainly a very deliberate player, but also yesterday on the back nine she faced several situations that were awkward, to say the least, like this lie that she faces. This primary rough was last cut Sunday afternoon, and it is long and thick. She has a side hill lie, dealing with a very strong crosswind right to left, going with a 6-iron.
That's an awkward lie to pull a 6-iron out of.
Not sure that's going to have enough. Oh, it did, just snuck on.
It's going to leave her with a quick putt, but I'd say a pretty darn good shot, Kay, from that spot.
Absolutely. Just to have that good a contact shows how stable she was through the shot.
Chun is +3 on her round with 3 bogeys. In the meantime, Lexi, of the 34 players who began the day within 9 shots of the lead, she is the only one under par today.
Well, Lexi's lie is okay relative to In-Gee Chun's. This is almost flat, but it certainly isn't flat. She is dealing with rough, but it's not as thick. She's got a little bit of an uphill lie. Her left foot will be higher than her right.
It looks like the grass is maybe growing with her a little bit too, Kay, which would make it easier on contact and judgment of how it's going to jump out of this lie.
129 yards to the front of the green. I think she's looking at that number, maybe a little bit more to ensure she carries the bunker, because she has to carry that sand on her angle.
There's a little backstop there. Did she catch it? Oh, what a shot.
Just like that, Lexi Thompson's got another great birdie look. She had a good look at the short par 4-8 just a hole ago, was not able to convert it.
Just uses her tremendous strength here to get underneath this golf ball. Look at how softly this lands onto these firm greens. Right into that upslope. Wonderful play.
Very good look it'll be for her third birdie of the round. And back over to the 10th.
Yeah, we saw Se-Young Kim miss the green. This is the shot she faces straight down the hill and only uses a 56-degree wedge. She doesn't have the 58 or the 60 that we see in some players' bags, but she knows how to use the 56-degree pretty well. She's going to have to work hard for the par there. Let's go up to 11.
Third at 11 for Minjee Lee, par 5.
Yeah, they moved the tee back up again today.
Minjee Lee, the U.S. Women's Open champion, went on to make birdie from there, trying to make a back 9 move here. That got her to 3 under. And now Hye-Jin Choi with a sand wedge from 74 yards with her third. Back here at the par 5 9th.
Just really awkward spot there. I mean, didn't have much to work with. Downhill lie out of the rough, but wait.
Yep, using that slope,
but
just like
here.
Lexi Thompson.
There are some wild slopes around these greens with the renovation here at Congressional.
Big day for Hye-Jin Choi, who's had some close calls in big major championships through the years. Lexi Thompson looking for her second major, her first one in 2014. Today's coverage is brought to you by KPMG, transforming insights into opportunities. And by National Car Rental, go national, go like a pro. 87 degrees, feels a lot hotter than that as our aerial coverage hovers high above Congressional, provided by Waystar on a journey to transform healthcare payments. Back down to the par 5 9th. And look where In-Ji Chun is aiming here at the 9th green.
This is just an incredibly difficult putt. In length, it's probably only 35 feet, and she's going to aim this way out to her right and probably treat it more like a 5 or 6 foot putt, then let it make a sharp left turn down to the hole.
This is just all about visualizing your speed here, finding that high point, not even ignore. I mean, she's got her back entirely to the hole.
Well, that's just gaining ever speed as it goes. She's going to end up outside her fellow competitors for par, outside of their birdie putts.
And that view will give you an idea of how these greens are wild in some spots after the renovation. And over at the 10th.
Se-Young Kim trying to save par. Back up the hill, and it just moved there on her. So that's going to drop her over par for the day. She falls back to 4 under, a couple behind. Of course, Lexi has a birdie putt still to come at the 9th. It is a different day today. We are seeing these players struggle out here. And speaking of struggles, this one's tricky. At the 17th for Nelly Korda, who has fallen out of contention here this weekend. But hold on a minute. Nelly Korda shows why she's the top American in the world. Back-to-back birdies for Nelly. And gets her back to 4 over par for the championship, 3 over par for the day. She has 1 hole to play here at Congressional. Let's go back to 9.
Hye-Jin Choi has the next putt for birdie, Kay.
Yeah, just outside of that putt of In-Ji Chun's upcoming for par. This ball is just past hole high right. It's going to have a good amount of speed and some right to left break as well.
Just 22 years old, 11 wins on the Korean LPGA Tour, trying to win out here for the first time. Impressive player. Mentioned that she's battled for some previous U.S. Women's Open. As a 17-year-old amateur, she had a chance to win the 2017 U.S. Women's Open. And she finished 3rd in the last U.S. Women's Open. There she was, the runner-up is just a teenager, Morgan. You know what it's like to get in the competition at such a young age.
Yeah, her first real foray here into golf in the United States. Went back to play for a few years in Korea as a professional and then made her way this year to the LPGA Tour. Just a really bright future ahead of this youngster.
And now Chun is trying to avoid her fourth bogey on this side.
She was so near perfection in those first 36 holes, and then showed a lot of resilience yesterday when things were not going her way. But again, things not going her way, this to avoid 4 bogeys on this front 9.
I think she really needs to bring some of that resilience out right now. Okay, she got to look at the leaderboard and say, I'm only 1 behind. You know, yes, I had a big lead, but I'm still very much in this championship.
It's going to be a +4 opening 9 for Chun, who matched the lowest round in championship history on Thursday with a 64. The lead was 5. It was 6, as we mentioned, going in at the halfway point. And this has just been a wild ride for Chun, who is just riding a wave of great play after the first couple of days. Then let the field come back to her yesterday, even though she did at one point have a 7-shot lead yesterday in the 3rd round. It was a bit of a shaky close, and so the lead had dwindled by the Saturday, and then trails by 2 as the lead was quickly gone. Lexi Thompson passing her after the 4th hole today, and this could be 3 back.
Well, Lexi came out today and has handled this front 9 so much better. She was +2 on this front 9 after the first 3 rounds, and 1 under so far. Oh, that's harsh.
Second straight hole, she's missed a makeable birdie attempt. Mentioned the one at the short par 4/8. And that will be the focus of this second 9, Morgan. How will the putter cooperate for Lexi Thompson, especially from short range and in? Could have been a bigger lead. It's 2.
And the final group reaches the 10th tee, and that wonderful scene with everyone sitting on the hill watching this short par 3. And the breeze is up here, Kay.
Oh, that it is. It is a good 2-club wind. And this group has been told officially that they are being timed. They are on the clock.
Kay, I don't quite understand why they're on the clock. The group ahead has barely to their tee shots on the 11th hole.
Well, I guess they didn't sufficiently close the gap like they were told after the 8th hole.
Yeah, there was a clear hole there. They did have a clear hole in front of them for at least a few minutes, whilst the group in front moved over to the 11th tee. So they're not quite keeping up with that group in front. And this is going to be another complexity to the drama of the back 9 being on the clock as you reach the 10th hole on Sunday at a major. It is not ideal, Kay.
No, it's not. It can cause some anxiety and stress. But what you have to do is just stay to your own game and just quicken that pace and make sure your caddy gets those yardages and make your decisions faster.
Only player to shoot under par on the front 9 today, Lexi Thompson.
That's a 9-iron up and away.
And it was bang on line, but there's a ridge there, and it's going to come back towards the front of the green, so it's going to add some difficulty to her birdie putt. And let's go over to the 15th hole.
Hyo-Joo Kim has this for birdie. Trying to become a part of a very select group under par in this championship. And she does get to 1 under for the day with 3 holes left. Much different day, as you were saying, Tom. Course average today 75, with the winds getting up and the greens firming up.
Yeah, we expected the players to be challenged here at Congressional as we take a look at our top tracer technology presented by Rolex. And Inji Chun.
And going with an 8-iron, gripping it down, trying to lower that trajectory a little bit.
That's the best of the 3. Still only 3 birdies on the 10th hole today. It's playing a lot tougher today than it did yesterday. I think the breeze has a lot to do with it. Let's go to 11.
And Kupcho comes to this par 5 11th at 1 under. She was definitely in the conversation the first couple of days and through much of yesterday. Gets 1 back there, gets within 4. Who knows what's going to happen down the final 9 here. By the way, the first 9 holes took the final group 2 hours and 50 minutes to play. So it is not a quick pace here at Congressional in the sweltering heat. Lexi Thompson began this day 3 back of the first and second. 3rd round leader Inji Chun now finds herself 2 clear of Chun and company as we get you out to that beautiful scene at the 10th.
Yeah, it's terrific, isn't it? Hedgen Choi has already played from the bunker. She's got a little work to do for her par. Now Lexi for birdie.
It's a good 45-footer, and with these massive greens, you can have a good large handful of very lengthy putts. Lag putting becomes so important. Lexi has had three putts this week, and would like to have had more speed on that one, putting back into the wind.
There's going to be more pressure on the putter there for Lexi. Work to do for par. Let's go to 11.
Par 5 11th. Se-Young Kim in this tie for second, 2 back. 111 yards left. Kim coming off 2 bogeys in the last 3 holes. Well, wherever your golf journey is headed, a PGA coach will help get you there. Find yours at pga.com/coach. Back to the 10th.
And now Inji Chun with a chance to turn things around. Kay, this for birdie.
Yeah, Tom, even though she hit the best shot out of the threesome, this is by no means an easy putt. It slides left to right a good deal. Yeah, never got that one high enough. Just
Go up to 12.
And this is a par attempt for Minjee Lee. Number 2 ranked player in the world behind Jin Young Ko. No problem there. Minjee Lee remains at 3 under. Right there looming 3 back.
Yeah, Dan, you have to think she's in a pretty good position, and we all know what she's capable of, especially coming down the stretch on Championship Sunday.
So as we look back down at the 10th.
And this is a par putt for Hedgen Choi. Hit it in the left bunker. And I feel like all these players just look so much more tentative on and around the greens. And that's due to the speed of the greens increasing, the firmness of the greens increasing. They just feel like they're a little bit unsettled.
And it's Championship Sunday.
Oh, yeah.
There's a lot of pressure and a lot of money on the line. It's for par. And it doesn't drop. Hedgen has been in the U.S. for 4 months. She does not have a home in America. She's heading back to Korea tomorrow. And she is really looking forward to heading home and looking forward to seeing her puppy, whom she hasn't seen for 4 months. So even if it doesn't go her way today, I know that heading home will be on her mind and getting a chance to get back to familiar surroundings, having been traveling in America for 4 straight months. Now, Lexi.
Yeah, this is huge. I was surprised that she came up so short on that birdie putt and just not making it easy for herself.
Yeah, Kane, after missing those 2 on the last 2 holes, I think this is a really important putt. She needs to make this for some confidence heading here in this back 9.
She's done such a good job of staying committed to her routine and the way she's putting.
Nice stroke there.
That was good. That's what Lexi's going to need on this back 9. Trying not to watch the leaderboards, get involved in what's happening in the championship, but that's going to be kind of impossible here when you're playing in the final 3 ball. This was the stroke.
Yeah, she has to know exactly what's going on out there, Tom. As much as you try and stay in your own position, she can see how the people that she's playing with are doing and knows that she's in the lead group.
Let's go to 11.
Se-Young Kim has this for birdie. kind of get her final round back on track.
We saw her do that a little bit yesterday there on the 17th hole. Got a little aggressive with her first putt and ended up with a 3-putt bogey.
She's trying to avoid her third in the last 4 holes. It'll be a tricky little par putt coming back for her at 11. Lexi Thompson with a nice par save at the 10th. The LPGA for more than 70 years creating greater opportunities for women. Drive on. Out to the par 5 11th. Se-Young Kim coming back here for par to stay at 4 under. Avoid a little string of bogeys. Not to be. That is indeed another one. 3 in the last 4 holes for her.
Yeah, the same thing we saw a little bit down the stretch yesterday. Just sloppy. That's a very sloppy bogey with the putter.
Pretty good looking card through the first 7 holes. The miscues have dropped her now 3 back. This is the par 5 11th. The tee is up today, and it's playing as the easiest hole today here on the blue course.
And Lexi has plenty of firepower to get there in 2. Doesn't look at that, but for a split second, beauty.
And just by straight into it.
I think still small tee, the power is good.
Oh yeah.
Get up to the par 3 13th. 171 yards today. Min-Ji Lee.
Toughest hole location we've seen this week on this hole, just over that bunker, turning this away from the hole. It's going to catch that big ridge and funnel back down towards the front of the green. That's going to leave a tricky 2-putt.
Min-Ji Lee got up to a rough start. Bogeyed the first 2 holes, has played 3 under golf since then. And back for Chun on the tee at 11. Let's see, she's had a little bit of everything so far at this par 5.
Yeah, you know, I watched her on the range a little bit this morning, Dan. She just looked uncomfortable with her golf swing. She was working hard with her coach, Juan Park, just uncomfortable. Wasn't really the same Ingie that we had seen previously this week.
Yeah, misses the fairway there. This is Jennifer Chang at the 12th. Brought it back nicely. Is right there, just 3 back. Huge day for her.
This could be life-changing for Jennifer Chang. Impressive. Got off to a tough start, 3 over early, but has battled back to even par on the day. That's going to keep sloping down, but just really hanging tough.
Defending champ Nelly Korda at the 18th for birdie. Continuing her comeback since the blood clot surgery. Still wearing that sleeve on the left arm. That was for 3 in a row, so a nice finish here nonetheless for Nelly. Min-Ji Lee coming up to that back right hole location here at the 13th. John Wood.
Dan, this putt's got a little bit of everything to it. Left to right, up the hill, down the hill, right to left, and about 60 feet. So not one you practice too often. This is completely feel and trust in your feel.
Only been 3 birdies at 13 today, and Min-Ji Lee will be working hard for a par. Back at the 12th, Brooke Henderson, and she putted a little better this week. Would have been a lot closer to the lead, Morgan.
Yeah, we've seen her so far this week just miss quite a few short putts. We know it's improved since she switched to left-hand low.
Yeah.
About a month and a half ago.
Take that one.
What a fantastic putt that was.
First birdie of the day for Brooke. Gets to 1 under, and who knows, 5 back. And if you haven't watched this week, the par 5 11th, there's the whole location on the right side of that green, and there is the split fairway configuration here. Depending on where the hole is cut, players electing to choose either of the fairways. And Lexi Thompson, who had a beautiful drive here, is set to go.
Yeah, both Lexi and Haejin Choi hit strong drives. In fact,
Yeah, well, I shot it 2-3-4.
Haejin got past Lexi. Ingie Chun laid up. She'd driven it into the left rough.
That's correct.
She's got a 3rd upcoming. Lexi has 217 yards to the front. And mind you, this is uphill and playing back into a good club and a half, 2-club win. So she's going to have to really tag this one. Struck that pretty well, pushed it a little towards the right bunker.
Little pitch shot from there for Lexi.
Yeah, that'll be a little bit short-sighted. The green running a bit away from her.
And back over to the 12. This is a par attempt for Chang to stay 3 back. Almost drops one there. Back at 11 for Hee-Jin Choi.
3 paces ahead, Alexi, 214 to the front. This going on a similar line. Maybe a little further right.
Yeah, that'll be even a little bit more short-sighted. You can see the edge of that bunker there. Everything, once it gets on the green, will run away from both of those players.
Just earlier, Jung-Yoon Lee, 5, 33 years old, second shot, 18. Been a bear of a hole this week.
Yeah, it's playing a little bit easier than it has all week. I think because it's so much more downwind today, Dan. So players able to hit shorter shots in. And wow. One for the highlight reel right there.
5 with a 2. That's a pretty good finish there. Birdie at 16 as well before the eagle drops to come home in 34 for a third final round 74. Another look at this hole.
Man, coming in with the wedge. We haven't seen anybody really come in with the wedge into this 18th hole, but because of the wind helping players off the tee here, using all these contours.
And there have been at least 6 women professional golfers named Jung-Yoon Lee, so thus the number designation to see who's who, and that is a great eagle 2 at the last. Minji Lee at 13 trying to stay par. Well done.
I've seen that movie before, John. She made so many of those putts coming down the stretch at the U.S. Women's Open.
Now Chun with her third at the par 5 11th.
And this is a hole yesterday where she chose the wrong club. Her caddy, Dean Herden, said, yeah, they were in between a wedge and a 9, went with the 9, thinking the wind was hurting more, but today it's definitely hurting more. 120 yards, playing more like 130, 35. And a much better result.
Neither Chun or Hee-Jin Choi has made a birdie today. Lexi Thompson made 2 in the first 3 holes, but has been shut out since then, but still leads this championship by 2 in the final round at Congressional. Back out to the par 5 11th, third for Lexi Thompson as the breezes are freshening here.
And you can see Hee-Jin's ball there well past the hole. It's just a tough shot to generate spin off that really tight lie, but Lexi able to have a little bit more club head speed there.
Par 3 13th, Brooke Henderson on the tee, 5 back at 1 under.
Yeah, a few years ago she switched to playing a little bit of a fade. Let's see if that'll help her here on this shot with that right hole location. Wow, they're just, I mean, it's such a different golf course than what the players saw early in the week, at least starting on Thursday after 2 inches of rain on the course coming into the day, but that is firmed up tremendously.
Not a bad way to play 13 there. Exhibited by Brooke. And back over to 11. Where eventually here, Lexi Thompson is going to have another good birdie look. But it's Hee-Jin Choi who is away, who's looking for her first birdie of the day.
And she's going to give Lexi Thompson a pretty darn good read on this putt. Downhill, sloping a little left to right. Spoke with her, one of her 2 coaches over here in the United States. She works with Brian Lebetovich, PGA of America coach, on her swing when she's away from her regular coach in Korea, and Gareth Waflewski on short game. And he's been trying to get her to speed up her routine, trying to pull the trigger once she's over the ball within 5 seconds.
Yeah, I love that, Kay. Become much more reactionary. You get into trouble the longer you stand over the ball, the more poor thoughts come into your mind. Oh, what a beautiful stroke that was, too. Unlucky. Nice roll.
So Choi will remain at 3 under. We go to 12. And Se-Young Kim, long birdie look. bogeys last 4 holes.
And after missing that short one on the last hole.
Not what you want to see. So it'll be another short par attempt for Se-Young Kim to remain 3 back. Up ahead to the 13th, Jennifer Chang off the tee.
I talked to her coach. She works with Ted O. I talked to him earlier in the week. He said that they're really working on not putting so much pressure on herself. I feel like if she's able to have a really good finish here this week, that would take a lot of pressure off her heading into the rest of the season.
And In-Ji Chun is next for birdie at 11, Kay.
And also looking for her first birdie. Had a good look at birdie at the 8th hole. And then bogeyed 9. This is an uphill putt. She can be plenty firm and aggressive with this.
Yeah, Chun out in plus 440, but the first birdie comes here at the 11th. That thing was rammed in the back of the hole.
Boy, hit that one in with conviction.
That might be just the spark she needs to kind of remind herself, hey, I'm still right here in this championship. Look at her smile there. Dean, caddy.
First birdie in 15 holes for In-Ji Chun. And Lexi Thompson in search of this elusive win. It's been 3 years, as we mentioned. And it's been a lot of events, 50 of them. A lot of runner-ups, a lot of top 5s, a lot of top 10s, but has not been able to get into the winner's circle. So waiting a long time for not only just a win of any kind, but that first major and the talent she had when she was a teenager, when she won in the desert. You would have thought she'd have multiple majors by now. Again, just 27 years old, but that's the kind of talent that Lexi has flashed all these years.
Shorter version of the same putt that Hee-Jin Choi just had.
Birdie by Thompson, who responds to Chun's birdie with one of her own, 3rd of the day. The lead is up to 7 under. 2 clear of Chun. Next best is 4 back.
Had 2 beautiful strokes in a row here from Lexi. Important putt, I think, for her, with In-Ji making that birdie just ahead of her. Keep the pressure on and keep the confidence up.
And she has been so close in these major championships. Talk about that first one coming in 2014. 10 top 5s for Lexi in the majors since that lone major title. And she strides over to the 12th with her 3rd birdie. And this a little par attempt by Se-Young Kim at 12. And she has struggled big time.
Oh, wow. And look, she's got a longer putt now coming back. She just looks a little bit more uncomfortable. She usually is so confident on those short putts, hits them with a lot of pace, as we've seen, but they usually go dead center of the hole and with authority.
Yeah, saw it really veering out of control yesterday, and it's just gotten worse as Lexi comes up here to the tee at this 401-yard par 4 12th. Again, 9 back at the turn yesterday in her round, and now leads by 2. Back up on the green now for the bogey for Kim. And that's 4 in a span of 5 holes now. And over at the 13th, Chang 2nd.
Oh, we saw from Brooks' shot just how fast this is going to be down towards this hole.
Yeah, that looks like a really good one.
Beautiful touch.
Yeah. Chang should remain at 2 under. And now Thompson on the tee at 12.
Yeah, going with less than driver, which makes sense as this hole is dead downwind. Really not a long par 4. She ought to be able to get this one down there and have just a short iron in if she can hit the fairway.
Yeah, the fairway slopes away down on the right side, so just trying to keep something a little short of that. She lost this right, okay?
Yeah, and there's a bunker over there to the right that does come in play.
You can't always tell with the Lexi lean. Sometimes it looks a little more aggressive than it actually is.
Just play it straight.
That'll be just fine. On the right side, good angle to the left hole location. Probably a little further back than she would have liked.
We go to the 14th.
And the second shot for Min-Ji Lee.
Drove it right, found a good lie, but a completely blind second shot from 173. Has to aim it at our tower behind the green.
flag all the way at the back of the green. That's going to be on the middle tier. There are 3 tiers. And we'll go back over to 12.
Coming off her birdie, Chun with a driver.
And she's trusted this driver all week long, been very proficient with it. Did miss one on the last hole on the left rough. That's been her miss today, but striping it right there.
She looked unbeatable in the first 2 rounds with a 64 to 69 to get a 6-shot lead into the weekend. But wow, have things changed. And this golf course firming up, getting even more challenging by the moment. Chun coming off birdie, just like Thompson, separated by a couple. Time now for today's KPMG Women's PGA Championship historical moment. There have been 68 editions of this championship through the years, and Annika Sorenstam, of course, has had a huge impact as we take you back to 2004 at DuPont Country Club in Wilmington, Delaware. Final round, beautiful shot there. Her second at the 16th, and then a tap in at 18, a formality as she won by 3 shots over Shi Hyun An. It was Annika's second of 3 consecutive KPMG Women's PGA Championship victories. Second oldest women's major in this 68th edition, being played for the very first time at Congressional Country Club, where Lexi Thompson wants to make it her second major win. As we go out to the 13th, it's been a difficult par 3. It was a beautiful second shot play there for Chang. And now painted off of the par. 3, a good score at the 13th today, as we talked about with that difficult hole location. As we get back to the 12th, and Lexi going over the yardage here, Kay.
Yeah, and her caddy wisely bringing out the laser, which are allowed this week, because when you're dealing with kind of a green that has a front right and a left front number, you want to be accurate.
Back there, you know? I've got it down off the left. Yes, that's correct. Just landed. That's perfect. Yep, right on the TV tower. It should trickle down to the left.
Okay, is this group still on the clock?
Yes. Going with a 9-iron, she's looking at her target is the TV tower, maybe the left edge of it. 153 to cover the bunker.
There's a little bit of a downslope there, just over the bunker. Ideally, would like to land this about flag high.
Oh boy, that came up short, bounding down into the bunker.
See that wind whipping down.
Yeah, that's well short. I mean, that's a full club short there.
Yep, not even close.
Yeah, that's a good 10 yards short of where she wanted to carry that.
Probably a good thing that it bounded down into the bunker instead of up on that hillside rough. To 14.
Minjee Lee just waiting for that bug to get out of her face, and she converted a great 2-putt on the last hole. This would be equally as good. An extremely steep hill and going to the right.
Yeah, this green with the big tier is probably the most pronounced of any of the greens out there. And just tough to get the speed right. We've seen a few players go long of the green today, and they've hardly been able to keep it on the correct tier. Let's go to 12.
And this is Chun's second from 146.
Yeah, she looks like she's aiming way right.
Good opportunity for her with Lexi in the bunker, but this one bounds out well to the right.
Yeah, I think that was a smart play. She didn't think she could stop it going at the flag.
Big announcement this week here at Congressional. The purse increase, as you can see through the years, $2.25 million before KPMG became involved. In fact, the winner received $337,000 just 8 years ago. The purse has now doubled in the last year from 4.5 to 9 million as we welcome Laura Nowinski, U.S. Deputy Chair and Chief Operating Officer of KPMG. And I know you're very proud of this purse increase, and I know the players are as well. So congratulations on another great week and a purse increase, which is huge.
Indeed, Dan, thanks so much. You know, as we've been the title sponsor for 8 years, we set out to make a lasting impact on women's golf, and I think we've been doing that, and we have an intent to just keep this going. It's been a lot of fun this week. What a great battle.
And also with your involvement in this championship, the Women's Summit. It was another big one on Wednesday where you had Condi Rice and some other leaders of the industry come in and inspire young women.
Absolutely. You know, we aim with this championship and the Women's Leadership Summit to elevate women both on the golf course as well as into the C-suite. Elevating women in the game, in the business world, the advancement, the empowerment, the promotion of women, and we did that by providing a tremendous agenda once again on Wednesday here on the course. We had Indra Nooyi, the former chair and CEO of Pepsi, Condoleezza Rice. We had Olympians. We had great conversation. We really are inspiring women to invest in themselves and inspiring their leaders to invest in them as they work toward promotion and better representation of women in the C-suite.
Laura, thanks for all you do. And the LPGA, it's been a great association for the last 8 years, just making women's golf better. So we all appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dan.
Laura Nowinski of KPMG with us as we get you out to the 12th. And there's Lexi looking over this third shot from the bunker. You see her scrambling numbers this week. Pretty good, third in the field.
And she's been 3 for 4 up and down out of the bunkers this week. But this one is going to be a good test. She doesn't have much green to work with. Only 8 paces, and the green is sloping away. It's downwind. She's in a deep bunker. Has to get this up quickly with some spin.
Number one job here, Kay. You got to get this on the green. You cannot try to get too cute and too perfect with this.
No, kind of accept a 15-footer beyond the hole.
Really whipping across this green.
Oh, that's about as good as she could do right there. Very well done, Kay.
Yep. Giving herself a 20-footer for par.
And that was all done downwind as we take another look from high above.
Yeah, just really well done. I mean, you can hardly, the sand here is so heavy and thick, especially even still after that rain earlier in the week. Makes it hard to generate enough spin, especially downwind, downhill. Smart play.
Back up to 14.
And the par putt here for Minjee Lee.
Definitely an easier leave than she had on the last hole. And you never want to get ahead of yourself, Tom, obviously, in these situations. But if she can get this one down, she's got to be thinking maybe one more on the way in and post it and see what happens. That would have a very good chance with how tough it's playing out here.
Yeah, I think with the amount of confidence she has coming off a U.S. Women's Open victory, a couple of majors in the last year, and this is one of the best players, if not the best player right now in the women's game. Not the world #1, but the way she's playing. So I wouldn't be surprised if she's right there come the end of the day. Yeah, it's a par. And just trying to set the target now. Not as much pressure on her shoulders. She can kind of freewheel it.
And this is Inji Chung looking over her birdie attempt at 12, okay?
Initially left the flagstick in by itself, but it was bending too much with the wind. Had her trusty caddy, Dean Herden, go ahead and tend it. Big left to right movement, downhill towards the end.
And that runs out a little bit.
Morgan, I had forgotten that Dean Herden was on her bag when she won this championship in 2015, or when she won the U.S. Women's Open. I wasn't working that event, but
yeah, I talked to him earlier. He said he was working for Hee Kung So, Inji's best friend, and they didn't make it in the championship, so he got on her bag.
Yeah, he said it was kind of a one-off. As Se-Yeon Kim coaxes this down at the 13th, it's still in that tough area for her, which we have seen her miss a number of short putts for par. And now Hee-Jin Choi for birdie over at the 12th. And Morgan, you really like this young 22-year-old. You think she's going to be a really good player for years to come.
I do. I've been very impressed with what I've seen just so far this year, even on the LPGA Tour. We know she's very accomplished back home on the Korean LPGA Tour. But, Kay, what have you seen out there that's impressed you today?
Yeah, she's solid tee to green, and I think for her it's just a matter of how close can she hit it with the wedges, and will those putts fall. Yeah, so far today, I don't think she's hit it close enough, and nothing has fallen.
I think she's got a fun, youthful personality, too, that comes out. She's a little bit more emotional. Oh, my gosh. That's the second putt in 2 holes that look like they've fallen, but she shows a little bit more emotion, just as if on cue.
That looked so good, Morgan, that, yep, I've got it. Oh, no, I don't.
Oh, man.
That's how close it was. Well struck by Hee-Jin Choi in her first year on the LPGA Tour. And now Lexi with a lengthy par putt, but a chance.
And Morgan, I spoke about her consistency, particularly with the putter. You know, she went to this claw grip, what, a year and a half, 2 years ago, and she stuck with it. And then working with Phil Kenyon, kind of some details that have helped with her rhythm and tempo of the putting stroke that she seems to handle really well when the pressure gets on her better.
Yeah, I would say her putting stroke looks probably the best it has ever looked under pressure. I still think that she just looks a little bit uncomfortable over the putts. It's just, she's such an athlete. She's maybe one of the very best athletes out here on tour, and if she could let that trickle down a little bit into her putting, as opposed to, she just looks a little bit rigid.
And I think she does that little squeeze in with her scapula that gets her to be more stable over the putt.
Yeah, that was another good roll. Good looking stroke, just played a little bit too much break. Mistake on this hole was made on the second shot, missing it a club short in that front bunker.
So with that bogey, the lead now just 1 for Lexi. Second bogey on the back 9 this week, so she has played this back 9 exceptionally well. Ahead to the 15th, and Minjee Lee on the tee of this 439-yard par 4. Down it goes into the fairway, hopefully, and then it is a big rise up to the green. Blind shot coming up for her second, and she's in great shape off the tee there. Minjee Lee in a tie for third, now just 3 back with Thompson's latest bogey, and back for Chun's par, and this to stay 1 back now.
Yeah, and this is what this golf course gives you. These greens are so big with lots of undulation. You end up having a lot of 4- and 5-footers for par. And when that wind kind of keeps picking up and gusting a little stronger at times, it's a good idea to back off and reset.
She looked like she hit that a little bit on the bottom of the putter face. Looked like the putter lifted a little bit as she went through impact there. Didn't stay quite as low to the ground as we're used to seeing.
So even with a bogey for Lexi, the lead remains 2. Another look at the stroke, Morgan.
I look just on the very bottom edge of the putter, made it just maybe squirt off a touch to the right, and it's a fine line out here.
That's the 5th bogey now for Chun in the first 12 holes. Well, there's the reason that 13 is playing pretty tough today, Morgan, all the way back there on the right.
Oh, there's only been 3 birdies today on this hole. It's just hard to get it close. We see, Kay, the best way is actually maybe to play it all the way to the back edge of the green and let the slope take it back towards the hole.
I like that, and there's plenty of room left of this flag stick. I don't think this is one that you want to be aggressive and go at it. And it's playing uphill, plays a couple yards uphill, and from this angle, the wind hurting from the right. This is a 4 hybrid.
Missing this right.
high right.
You know, that's actually not the end of the world. She's chipping back up the hill. Might be one of the best places to miss it around this green.
This is Min-Ji Lee, the blind second shot, Woody, at 15.
Yeah, 179 to the hole, but I think it's a shot you can actually land short of this green. It's downwind and it's coming in at a shallow angle. The fact that you're hitting downwind and uphill, a lot of run out on this second part.
Oh my gosh, that took a massive bounce.
Straight downwind is what he described,
I
all
mean,
the way in the back bunker.
Oh, and she's up by the... That's going to be a
Little
really
downslope.
tough shot. Yeah, she's going to have lip issues on her backswing. I mean, only 20% of the field has hit that 15th green in regulation today.
I think it's with that, I think it's 85.
Lexi listening to Will Davidson.
Yeah, he came on a bag last year after the Solheim Cup. She's pulled the 4-iron out. She actually is carrying both her 4-iron and 5-iron along with the driving 3-iron. Often she keeps out either the 4 or 5 and carries 5 wedges, but because of the length of the course, changed up her equipment setup. Oh, that sounded good.
Nice penetrating ball flight there. Is she going to get that backstop?
It should come over.
She's so good with those long irons.
It's not going to come quite as far back as Brooks did, but still really nicely done.
Well, Lexi has contended in a lot of majors. The lone victory, though, coming 8 years ago. She was just 19 years old in the desert. The Chevron closed with a 68 3-shot win over Michelle Wee. Got on a birdie run there on the front and parred every hole on the back nine. Her 4th career LPGA victory at the time, 1st major title, and it just seemed like a matter of time before she added majors after the leap into Poppy's Pond. But we have been waiting a long time for the next one for Lexi Thompson, and again 3 years from a win of any kind. And now Chun ready to go off the tee.
This is her 7 wood. This club was quite magical for her the first couple of days.
Yeah, it's going to leave her just on the bottom side of the ridge with that tricky uphill, then downhill putt.
Boy, Chun, the first 50 holes looks like it was going to be an historical run to victory. Was 11 under. Last 16 holes plus 7. That's enabled Lexi Thompson to get a 2-shot lead. This is Choi's second shot at the par 3 13th.
Ball sitting down a little bit in this thick rough. 15 feet of green to work with. Green tilts from back to front in this section. Oh, pretty nice little shot. Nice rhythmic flop shot, little semi-flop shot.
Chance to stay at 3 under. Go to 15 and pick up Min-Ji Lee from that back bunker.
It doesn't look like she has any issue on her backswing, but a little bit of a downhill lie. Tough to judge the spin or get any spin, but wow. Looks like bounces just through enough of the rough. Gets it to stop. What a shot.
Yeah. Big time shot there. A chance to remain at 3 under, 3 back of Lexi Thompson. We just showed you how her lone major victory came in 2014. She's had 3 runner-up finishes since that major win. As you look at our insights brought to you by KPMG, and that graphic there doesn't include a 3rd place finish at the U.S. Open last year at Olympic Club. She had a 5-shot lead with 8 holes to play in that championship, and it got away from her. Chun for birdie now here at 13.
Mentally, she's been trying to lower the importance of this week. She feels the expectations of those around her, plus her own expectations. And as a perfectionist, like so many golfers are, it's a hard way to play. Trying to free it up and not control things as much. Up and over that hill. Really good speed.
In fact, Chun became so frustrated with her disposition and the way she wasn't having fun playing golf anymore. She pretty much stepped away from the game in 2018, 2019. She's talked about suffering from depression, said she just put too much emphasis on it, was a perfectionist, And as Kay said, it's just trying to have more of a carefree attitude about the sport. From shooting below 100 to finally crushing par at your favorite course, the relaunched Breaking Series has the tips you need. Stream all 4 instruction series right now, only on Golf Pass. And it seems to be the goal of a lot of top-notch players through a lot of different sports. It is very easy to get into a situation where you kind of define yourself as a person to the sport you're playing, Kay, and Lexi Thompson has had her own struggles in that department.
Most definitely, and I think she's getting a lot of help, Morgan, from Martin Hall, just constantly inputting positive thoughts. He has such an array and library of stories and anecdotes he can share with her to help her through tough times.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time talking to Martin about Lexi, and he's always looking for ways to help her feel more confident on the golf course. And, you know, Dan, you mentioned her near misses in major championships. And I talked to Martin this morning. He said they've really been thinking about the only reason to look in the past is to learn from your mistakes, learn swiftly, and move on. And that's really been Lexi's focus here.
This is such a fast, difficult putt.
Well done by Thompson, who says she's in a much better place. She doesn't put as much of that kind of perfectionist attitude on her golf. I go out, she says, I've been practicing. She's got a putting green in her backyard. She says, I put in the time, and let's just go see what happens. Nice save there for par. It'll be for Lexi to remain at 6 under over at 15. Minjee Lee looking for the same. Nice up and down from the back bunker for the U.S. Women's Open champion from Pine Needles to stay in the mix, 3 back in a tie for 3rd.
I mean, that could be a huge up and down there, Dan. Coming down the next few holes. I mean, wow, she made that look so easy.
And how big could this be in the end? A par attempt here for Choi.
Man, all these putts just seem so big. And they're all so challenging, especially when you're above the hole. Like this one, everything drains down to the right side of the screen. See how firm, how brave she is to hit it with a little bit of firmness.
Well, not much firmness in that one, Kay.
That was just, I mean, but look at how far past that went still. I mean, so tentative, but it's almost hard not to be as severe as this green is here around this hole location.
There's just no way you can hit the tee shot below the hole. Like even Lexi, she had such a tremendous tee shot, but was not rewarded with an easy birdie putt by any means.
So Choi will mark, is very good friends with In-ji Chun, who lives in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. A lot of South Koreans making that area of the country their home. And now Chun will try to keep it at this 4 under number.
You almost just have to start thinking that par is your friend, the usual way at a major championship. Just grind out these pars.
Stays at +4 on the day. Again, had a 3-shot lead to begin. A 7-shot lead yesterday in the 3rd round. She's keeping that positive attitude rolling here. As we go up to 15, pick up the 2nd shot for Jennifer Kupcho, winner of the first major of the year. And the last major out there in the desert. And Morgan, I know you won that championship, so it's a little bittersweet to see it leave the desert out west.
Definitely bittersweet, but Jennifer making that last leap into Poppy's Pond, but you know, Chevron coming on board with that event, wanting to take it to new heights, just similar to how KPMG has done with this event here.
Hitchin Choi tapped in for the bogey over at 13. And we'll go back there to see Lexi's tap in here. See her working on that posture.
Yeah, she pulls her scaps back just before she takes it back to try and keep her arms more engaged to her rib cage and not work independently from her body.
So that's the thought. Scaps back. Recent champions of this championship in its 68th edition. Brooke Henderson won as a teenager in that playoff battle at Sahalee with Lydia Ko. Danielle Kang, we want to wish her the best. The 2017 champion, diagnosed with a tumor on her spine, has taken some time away from the game to get better. Hannah Green winning at Hazeltine a couple of years ago. Se Young Kim, the winner, with that 63 in the final round. And then Nelly Korda on her way to #1 in the world last summer with a win at Atlanta Athletic Club. And over at the 14th.
This is a par putt for Se Young Kim. She came up on the front of the green with her second shot, left herself a long birdie putt all the way up the green. So there's a good 2-putt for Se Young. She remains at 2 under, 4 shots back of Lexi Thompson, who has reached the tee at the 14th. And I think this hole is going to suit Lexi in terms of the length that she has, because it's playing long and it's playing the toughest it's played all week. We've got top tracer technology presented by Rolex for Lexi's tee shot here.
And ideally, you'd like to be on the left-hand side of this fairway to have a clear look at the hole. Not feeling the force of the wind that's hurting off this tee. But it's up there, and she just ripped that one. Wow, what a good drive.
Just avoid the divots, and it does. So Lexi will have that uphill second shot to the back hole location at the 14th. Let's go to 15.
And Kupcho, also the winner last week in a playoff.
Let's see how far short of the green she lands this, Dan. Oh, on the putting surface. You just can't do it.
Just rockets back into that bunker. Just like Minjee Lee.
Yeah, she doesn't get quite as far up against that back lip, but it's just playing so much differently than it has the first 3 days.
14.
Inji Chun.
And she's giving up a good 30 yards. This going down the left-hand side should be okay.
Yeah, it's fine. The start of that ball flight cave was a bit worrying. There's a penalty area down the left. There's also out of bounds down there, but it is just fine from Inji Chun. But she needs to turn things around. 14 birdies the first 36 holes, 4 birdies in her last 31 holes.
First edition of this championship played in 1955. This is the 68th playing of the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. Third major for the women, total of 5 again here in 2022. And Lexi Thompson is hoping it is her second career major victory. She's been waiting a long time for another day like this to go her way. Tee at 16, par 5, Minjee Lee, 3 back.
Yeah, they moved this tee up for the first time this week, making this hole reachable in 2, especially for Minjee, who's one of the longer hitters out here. Doesn't seem like she likes it, but I think it'll be just fine. Be able to chase something up there. Hole location today on the very front of this green.
Ahead to the green, older sister of the defending champion Nelly Korda, Jessica Korda.
And Jessica, we talk about Nelly taking some time off. Jessica took a little bit of time off as well. Hasn't looked rusty in her return either, though.
It's a bit of a wild scorecard for Jessica. Adds up to +1. Not a bad week for her. Today's coverage is being brought to you by KPMG, transforming insights into opportunities. Hot, humid day at Congressional in Bethesda, Maryland, and the aerial coverage provided by Waystar on a journey to transform healthcare payments. That's a good look at all the trees that were taken out in this Andrew Green transformation of the blue course. 36 holes here at Congressional. The blue course, the course where they played all the big championships through the years, and back down to the 14th.
And Hyun Choi is second.
Yeah, going with a 5-iron, Tom. You guys have talked about this hole way in the back. 41 paces on.
See if it gets back there. It does. There's a little backstop right there. It'll come back. Yeah, that is really good. That's one of the best we've seen all day. I'm not sure you could get much better. What a shot. Tap in birdie. She's going to have no idea how good that is. Here we go to 15.
And the third from this back bunker for Kupcho. And Kupcho will need that to stay at 2 under, 4 back. And back to 14.
And now In-Ji Chun with that uphill second shot. It's pretty significant, 21 feet up the hill. And of course, the flag is at the back of this 3-tiered green today, Kay.
You need to carry it 35 paces on to get to that top tier. For In-Ji, that's 160 yards. She's going with a 5-iron.
And needs a hop forward. It doesn't get it. So that's going to leave her a putt that is going to need some hitting from down there with that ridge. Let's go to 16.
And Min-Ji Lee giving it a go.
229 front off a little bit of a downslope, which could help her get the ball running. Give yourself some sort of an eagle chip or an eagle putt. This is a gorgeous looking shot right now.
Looked like great contact, and what a shot by Min-Ji Lee. Takes a little look at the hole as it goes by. She'll have that for eagle.
Wow, that reminds me of the shot she hit on the first hole of the final day at Pine Needles. Wow.
That just sounded good, looked good, and that wasn't far off from banging against that stick. And back to 14.
If that had gone in, she would have tied for the lead. This is Lexi, who is leading here on the 14th.
I don't think where this ball ended up is doing her any favors, Tom. It ended up a little bit on the upslope. And that's going to cause her ball to shoot up even higher into this elevated green, but into the wind.
Only 4 birdies so far today on the 14th.
She's got to make sure she hits this really solidly and doesn't let it balloon at all.
Yeah, you need to find that correct tier if you're going to have a good look at birdie.
She hit a beautiful flighted iron into that last hole. Needs to keep this ball flight down a bit.
There's a reason she's #1 on tour in greens hit in regulation.
Getting pretty high up in the air there, Kay.
Drawing it in a little.
Yeah, that's the correct tier. That's going to leave her right to left breaking putt, but it is for birdie. Lexi Thompson with the lead in a major championship. Jin Choi walked up and tapped her birdie putt in. That's her first birdie of the day, so that gets her to 3 under par and within 3 of the lead of Lexi Thompson. But In-Ji Chun has something to think about with this birdie putt.
Boy, I think this has to be the longest and most severe putt that she's faced today. She had an equally challenging downhill twisting putt on the 9th for birdie, but this uphill, so hard to get yourself, Morgan, to hit it hard enough yet still hit the sweet spot.
She's going to ask for it to be tended, I think.
I think that's smart. Once a little bit of depth perception helps a bit. When your caddy is standing there, it gives your eyes a better feel for exactly how long the putt is.
And when you have a lot of wind like today, a good club and a half, 2 club wind, the flagstick just moves around too much and can be distracting. This is so slow. The first 2/3, like extremely slow up that slope. Then it flattens out a little.
Seen a lot of players leave it short from down here.
Not this one.
Oh, wow.
Oh, it is a little short.
I tell you what, that was a really good effort, but it was close to going in. That would have been a bonus. It's going to be a 4 for In-Ji. Came here at the beginning of last month to check out the golf course and went into the pro shop to make sure she was okay to play, and they gave her a tee time with another player that was there, Dan, Jin Choi.
Good friends, as we said. Get connected with the LPGA on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Coming down the stretch here at this KPMG Women's PGA Championship. Lexi Thompson is next over at 14, Tom.
This would go a long way for Lexi, but there's going to be some movement in it, Kay.
Yes, this is the kind of putt that it looks relatively flat and relatively benign to some of the others you've faced today, but it's the kind of putt that could entice you to be a little extra aggressive, and if she's not spot on, it could end up going by a good ways. And I think she's got to err on the high side to the right side here to give it a chance.
think of all the near misses that Lexi's had in major championships since that win. And we wonder when the next one's going to come. She's got a big opportunity here this afternoon, and this would go a long way. And it's just a bit tentative from Lexi.
Yeah, I kind of understand the tentativeness on that one, because it was one of those putts that if she was a little too aggressive and it snapped left, it could get out of control.
Should be a 4.
Well, Tom, you talked about her close misses in majors, which she's had 20 second-place finishes in her career. And you can look at that positively, like you're always in the mix. Or you can look at it like, boy, how many more wins could I have?
Yeah, I think the longer that it goes without her notching that next victory, the harder it's going to be.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. That is the nemesis for Lexi, that tentative stroke from short range, Morgan.
Yeah, we've seen it just all too often, Tom. Just a short stroke here. Hardly took the putter back at all. Dead left off the putter face.
It's hard to watch at times with Lexi Thompson. Minjee Lee has an eagle putt at 16. Lexi tapping in the bogey at 14.
And ties her for the lead up top. If this goes in for Minjee Lee, that will be well short, but the 2-putt birdie it'll be. And you look at Thompson and you compare her to Minjee Lee. Lexi, as we've been talking about, is looking for her first win in 4 years. Chun is looking for her first win in 4 years, and Lee has been winning with regularity in the last year. 3 wins in the last 12 months, and 2 of those majors. And this is a scene that we've seen repeated numerous times when the championship heat gets ratcheted up, especially in major championships for Lexi Thompson.
Yeah, and in all of her interviews, especially the ones as of late, she just keeps repeating herself. I mean, I'm trying to control my emotions. I'm not looking at the leaderboard. I'm focusing only on what I can control, and very much trying to take her focus inwards. But when you have a 2-shot lead coming down the stretch at a major championship, it's really hard to stay in that present moment. And it's definitely been a struggle for Lexi.
And she's had some opportunities here, definitely. Birdies on the line. This was what we were talking about, the short par 4/8 earlier. It was got her drive up there close to the green, hit a beautiful pitch to that point, settled for par, and then a great birdie look at the 9th as well. And then the one that you just saw her miss at 14, that for par. And the latest that we saw, besides today in a major, was that U.S. Women's Open at Olympic Club. You were there, Morgan, and it was, as Tom said, it just gets hard to watch when you kind of are hoping that it doesn't come. But indeed, we're seeing it again on this championship Sunday. As Chun is now off the tee at the par 4 15th.
Sticking with driver. And this whole playing mostly downwind with the left to right wind. It's coming pretty much out of the southwest today.
Third toughest hole this 15th. Almost a half stroke over par. Has a lot to do with that elevated green after you find the fairway, if you find it. Down below. And it's just gotten so firm up there, Morgan. Just 21% of the field have been finding the green in regulation at 15 today. And you would think Lexi's head spinning a little bit here.
Morgan, what if you were caddying for her, or you were sitting on her right shoulder, what would you be saying to her right now?
I mean, you need to have the shortest memory in the history of the world here right now. Need to focus 100% on this shot. If I was Will, I'd be, you're still in the lead of this championship. There's a lot of golf left to play, still 4 holes.
It's just got to be so confounding for her, who is such an impeccable ball striker and powerful, that she just is so unreliable and inconsistent on those shortest of putts that count equally as much as a 280-yard drive. Rip that one with the 3-wood.
Very authoritative off the tee today for the most part.
You're done.
Coming off 2 bogeys in the last 3 holes as we shift up to 17.
And Minjee Lee on the tee. Let's see how far down the left she goes, just skirting that left bunker. Straight down the breeze today, so maybe, yeah, soft bounce is going to be fine. Needs to avoid the divots though. Oh, I think it may have found a divot. There are just so many shots hit from that part of the fairway because all the balls gather down there. We'll find out when we come back to this final round of the KPMG Women's PGA.
The PGA of America, inspiring the future of the game and the golfer in all of us. First women's major contested at Congressional Country Club, which has been hosting the biggest championships in this country for a long, long time. It's been open for about 100 years. And enjoying this women's PGA championship, and Lexi Thompson hoping this is going to be her day, but she cannot afford any more of the miscues like she just had at the 14th Morgan.
Yeah, this is, I mean, we've seen it a handful of times, certainly in Lexi's career, missing these short putts under pressure. Watch as she goes through this stroke. She like backs up with her upper body, shuts the face down. It's almost like she was looking, wishing the ball to go in the hole from about a foot. And just, she needs to, I mean, she knows it's hard. It's so hard being in that position time and time again, and that being just too much of the story, Dan.
Layer upon layer in your career. She just keeps adding to it. Harder and harder it gets to turn that around. She's got some holes here. Like you said, Morgan, she's got plenty of time left here to win this championship. She's just got to turn that mental block around from missing those short putts. As you look at the blind shot here again at the par 4 15th, so hard to get this on a regulation. There's the elevation change that heads up to the green, Kay.
And all the players stopped short, about 50 yards short on higher ground to get a sense of where the flag is in relation to that pole. You've got to hit front yardage here because everything just releases and goes like turbocharged through the green.
Yeah, you have to hit about 30 yards short of front yardage here, Kay. I mean, it's just, it's nearly, oh, she's going to have a really tricky stance there too. It doesn't look like she's got a lot of space to work with.
17.
Yeah, it's what we feared there for Minjee. It has found a divot, John.
She has. It's not sanded, which is a plus. If it's sanded, it almost becomes really tough to make solid contact. It's partially replaced. Her ball is sitting on an old divot, so it's not as bad as it might be. That being said,
so she takes a look at that. Let's go to the 15th.
And Chun is next.
Wow, and just standing here in the last minute in between Haejin Choi and Inji Chun hitting, the wind has just picked up even more strongly, helping from the left. If you're going to land it short, it has to be on the very far left-hand side because everything slopes and tilts left to right.
We're going to check it out, Kay, with our top dresser technology presented by Rolex.
That's a smooth 8-iron.
Landed too far.
Just on repeat, everybody flying the green.
Well, the problem is if you come up a little short right, it's just going to peel off down to the right and never make the green or end up in that bunker.
Lexi K has at least a little more opportunity. She's probably the highest ball hitter of the group, can generate more spin than her opponents. But she, I don't know if she knows that how far over or how big of a bounces those balls have taken and that she needs to land something well short of the front edge here.
I think she can hazard a guess because there was no cheering, no crowd reaction.
Yeah, I think pitch wedge downwind landed right there. Yeah, exactly.
That's the advantage. Will says she's going with the pitching wedge.
Yes, that's correct. Helping off the left.
135 to the front. see if she's going to land this on the green and get some spin. It's just so much wind helping. It sounded good. How will it react?
I mean, that basically is like she's just hit the green in regulation, Dan. I know it's just off the edge, but she has an uphill putt there for birdie. She's going to be able to get putter on that.
Good to see a smile back on her face. 17.
Yeah, you can see the flag just over the bunker, but I think Minji's going to play into the heart of the green, digging it out of that divot. Now, will it stop? Yeah, that's fine. It's going to be an uphill birdie putt. We've seen a lot of players there today. And let's take a look at that lie. Yeah, just at the front of the divot. Wasn't sanded, as John said. And she was able to play a pretty regular shot from there. And this is a player who's at the top of her game and not as big of an issue as it could have been. Let's go to 18.
Lydia Ko just finished out. This was her birdie attempt at the 18th, not playing quite as tough as it's been. And the first birdie comes at the last for Lydia Ko, 17-time winner on the LPGA Tour, says, finally, I got a birdie at a Congressional. Breaks 80 in the process. Well, if you're watching in the playing through, you saw Hae-Jin Choi's struggles here at 15. Chunk one in the back there, so a bogey for Choi drops to 2 under. It's that kind of day, championship pressure. And Chun is next to play her third.
She hit a chip shot from this position yesterday when the hole was more towards the back right. And this shot reminds me a little bit, Dan, of yesterday on 16 when she got up and down for a double bogey. It was a flop shot out of the thick rough with hardly any green to work with.
Lie okay, Kay?
Okay, not great, manageable, but she's got to clip it and really lay open that face and be nice and aggressive through this shot. She is really good at those little flop shots.
Yeah, very nicely done. So important to stay aggressive through that shot, and she did just that.
17. And as you look at Minji Lee down the green, lowest final round scoring average in majors in the last 5 years. We talked about how Minjee Lee, the last year, has proven to be the best players in the world, second-ranked player in the world, but by virtue of her play lately, I mean, she is playing the best golf of anyone. One of only 4 players under par today, Minjee Lee, and the only one in the final 7 threesomes.
Chance to tie the lead here, John.
Absolutely. She just saw a very similar putt from Ko. Up over that hill and then moving to her right. It's got some little bit of speed on it.
Wandering away from the hole, so not in for a 4 just yet. Let's go back over to 15.
Just off the green, Lexi Thompson for birdie.
And Morgan, like you said, the advantage here, putting back uphill, slightly uphill. Everything moves to the back of the green. This will pull a little to her left. Maybe she can free up the stroke a little bit because she's coming off the grass, and maybe a little less expectations that this will roll perfectly.
Yeah, just the sheer distance as well. A little bit not the same expectations of trying to make it. Go.
How about that? How about that?
What a stroke. What a bounce back. Didn't look like it was maybe going to get there for a bit, but
maybe this is going to be the day for Lexi's second major breakthrough. Wow.
Able to get it to fall in on the left side. She's still backed up out of that one a little bit.
Only the 5th birdie of the day at 15 today. Could not have come at a better time for Lexi Thompson.
Very gutsy right there, Dan.
She has been on our radar, playing in major championships since she qualified for that U.S. Women's Open at the age of 12. She's been playing in these for 15 years. I can't remember any other woman having more close calls and struggles in major championships than Lexi Thompson has through the years. What a day it could be. Chun with a big putt here for par.
Yeah, and the crowd was so excited to see that putt fall by Lexi. They've quieted down. This putt now downwind. Really nothing to it in terms of big break. Just get it started, center, and trust it.
And this to stay in that two-way tie for second with Minjee Lee, who's over at the 17th. 2 back.
You know, Inji again hasn't had her best stuff today, but she has really hung tough in there after getting off to a rough start, losing that big lead. Oh
boy.
Almost looked like the wind blew her over there a little bit, okay?
Definitely, and that can be so disconcerting. And you just have to, I don't know, either widen your stance, tighten your quad muscles a little bit more to really steady the lower body.
We've been talking about how long it's been since Lexi's major win. Inji Chun is a 2-time major champion, but it's been 6 years since she last won a major. Big par save for Chun, but Lexi Thompson's birdie brings her 2 clear with 3 holes to play. Has a par 5 coming up at 16. 17 and 18 still playing over par, but they're not as tough as they've been throughout most of this championship week. And you can see the support that Lexi Thompson has. Nelly Korda has replaced her as the best player in America, but there was a time when Lexi Thompson had that on her shoulders all by herself.
Minjee for par. Oh, wow. The twists and turns of this championship. You just don't know what's coming next.
It has been all over the place in the last, even in the last hour, Tom.
Yeah, it's incredible. Minjee, by the way, was 8 shots back after she bogeyed her opening 2 holes. She's now 3 behind.
So with Thompson at 6 under, we'll remind you that NASCAR's new era is here. Time for us to join the fun. Don't miss the excitement as NASCAR on NBC returns in Nashville today at 5 o'clock Eastern Time on NBC and Peacock. So Lexi makes her way over to the par 5 16th tee. Team ground up today, 495 yards. So a chance for Lexi to use her power to her advantage. Has always been one of the longest hitters out here.
Yeah, straight into the wind today, Kay. We just saw Minjee Lee get there in 2 with a fabulous second shot. I think Lexi, if she puts this ball in the fairway, can definitely get to the green in 2.
No doubt, no doubt. And it's just a matter of her freewheeling it and hitting one of her patented drives.
When you think about that 15th hole, our Lexi just made birdie. She made birdie there yesterday as well. It's been one of the hardest holes all week. And what a couldn't have come at a better time, Kay.
A little bit in off of our right.
Well, I'd say, I mean, that's a good way to help you erase the short miss at the previous hole by holing that birdie putt.
It was just about 1.5 feet that miss for par at the 14th, and comes back and birdies the 15th.
A good target would be that far bunker in the distance, the left edge of it. Fairway tilts a little bit from right to left. Yep, that's going down the right center.
She has hit some good drives today. One of the LPGA leaders in par 5 scoring, Thompson has always been, but only 3 under on the 4 par 5s this week. But still, these par 5s are not your typical LPGA Tour par 5s, Morgan.
Yeah, most of the par 5s this week have been playing over par for the field. And this hole, they just happened to move up today. It has not played this distance all week. It's the first time they've used this up tee.
Now Chun, after the nice save, to stay at 4 under.
And this is a hole that she probably feels owes her something. See if she can shave 3 shots off of what her double bogey yesterday. Kind of cut across that one high right drive.
That was a little bit of the miss that I saw her hitting on the range today. Just a little bit of a soft fade, kind of a weak fade.
Up to 18, 427-yard par 4 downhill fairway, canted right to left.
You gotta hug the right side of the fairway just to probably even keep it in the fairway with as firm as this golf course has gotten. Beautiful there by Minji.
But the work got a lot tougher with that last miss for bogey at 17. Now 3 back of Lexi, and that just skirts the divot. She was already in one earlier, but finally avoids that one at the last second. Lexi Thompson looking for another major victory, coming off the short miss at 14 from the back fringe at 15. Couldn't be a better time to pour it in to get to 600. Lexi Thompson is only 27 years old, but she has been playing this game in big championships for a long, long time. In fact, she is a 2-time junior PGA champion. The first one coming back in 2007, Westfield Group Country Club. She was just 12 years old, birdied 4 of the last 5 holes in a stretch on the back 9. Couple of years later at TPC Rivers Bend in Ohio, just 14 years old, went wire to wire to win by 12 shots. And we mentioned that she was 12 years old when she qualified for the U.S. Women's Open. We have been talking about Lexi Thompson for 15 years. And she's trying to join Christy Kerr and MB Park as the only girls junior PGA champions to win this championship as well.
I remember first time I think I met Lexi, she was about 8 years old, playing in junior tournament in South Florida. Big scrunchie on top of her head and about 20 hair clips. She's gone down a little bit in the number of hair clips she's got going on, but always had her unique style, and same with her golf swing. It has always looked relatively similar.
Along with Michelle Wie and Nelly Korda, one of the most recognizable American golfers of her generation. Now Chun with a second.
Yeah, the second shot has been hard for her. She has a tendency to go too far to the right like she did yesterday, but this one should be fine.
Yeah, she kind of just fell asleep a little bit yesterday, Kay, on that layup that cost her double bogey.
Up at 18, Minjee Lee has the first piece of the puzzle here at this par 4, Woody, but it doesn't get any easier, especially when you stare down the hill at that water.
Yeah, fantastic drive up the right side, just inside the bunkers, bounded down here, just 132 left. And Morgan, I don't think this is playing any more than 120. You'll get a forward bounce and then a left spin once it's down.
Yeah, we saw Jung Lee 5 hole out earlier by using that right slope. Definitely can play to your advantage. Got to play for a little spin.
Good looking draw, just a hair right of the flagstick. This could be real good.
It is real good. It is really good. A chance for birdie for Minjee Lee to post 4 under. One more look at this beautiful strike.
Just a fabulous shot under such pressure. Knows what she has to do, knows she probably needs to make birdie here to put some pressure on Ingie and Lexi.
She has been living on major championship leaderboards. The last 4 majors, a win at the Evian last year. She won the U.S. Women's Open, top 5 at the Women's British, 12th at the Chevron to start this year, and currently right there in 3rd in this championship. Lexi Thompson's over at the 16th and definitely has designs on getting to this green in 2, but it is Choi to play first with her second.
Yeah, she's 15 yards behind Lexi. We're going to give it a rip. 249 to the front. Oh, she pulled it. It's going towards all those bunkers on the left. I think with this wind picking up, it's a lot of club to get there in 2 right now.
Yeah, I mean, well, up here.
It's really an awkward distance of shot too.
Right. Correct. Correct. Anything up here is all pretty flat. This section here. There's a 15-yard flat straight line right here.
Was it the front?
The front, oh, sorry. 234.
2 what?
234. Or 239.
I mean, that ball just moved pretty hard off the right,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just going to
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%.
This is what Lexi lives for. These par 5s are so exciting. She can really utilize her strength. You heard it, 235 to the front. That's the number she's looking at. I would think she'd try to keep this down, the trajectory down, so the wind doesn't affect it as much. She did hit it lower, but pushed it out to the right, much like she did at the 11th hole.
You know, that'll be just fine. She's chipping across the green there.
Has a little room at this par 5 16th. The leader by 2.
So I was just working on I've got to take the adjustment for that.
In the first women's major ever at Congressional, it had the look of an early historical run by South Korea's Ingie Chun. Had a lead as big as 7 just yesterday, but then the bogeys started to come, and enter Lexi Thompson in this final round. Hasn't won a major since the 2014 Chevron. Hasn't won an LPGA Tour event in her last 50 events. Trying to join the tapestry of champions which has spanned nearly 7 decades. And the women's second oldest major, the KPMG Women's PGA Championship. Big trophy on the line, $9 million purse about ready to be handed out, and it's Lexi Thompson by 2 as they play that 16th. This is Chun, closest to her, 2 back. What a shot. Uphill look at birdie it'll be for Ingie Chun.
Yeah, not one of the longest players out here. Couldn't get to that green in 2, but wow, what a wedge.
Big putt here by Minjee Lee to post 4 under. Closing birdie. And now we'll wait and see how Lexi and Ingie Chun close here down the stretch. And again, that last bogey. We'll see how big that looms that Minjee Lee made at the 17th. And over at the 16th, Hye-Jin Choi overlooking her next shot here. Found second shot, found the bunker. And Lexi Thompson awaits her little pitch shot, third upcoming to this par 5.
And these 45, 50-yard bunker shots are always ones you wish you'd practice just a little bit more, Morgan.
It's a very awkward number here, and she's got that other bunker to carry as well.
She was in between a couple of wedges. Generally speaking, players like to take a little more, or a little less loft.
Yeah, just try and blast something out, but got to make sure you don't want to chunk it into that other bunker. Want to try and get this on the green.
It's sitting cleanly.
Oh, she went for a solid contact.
Wow.
Not on purpose?
That was... goodness.
That's just like Kay, you said, Kay. I mean, you don't practice that shot very often, of that 60-yard bunker shot. And easy to do. Catch it too cleanly. Trying to get too much out of it.
Lexi Thompson has walked up onto the green here to get a better look at her upcoming third, Kay.
Yeah, and this little pitch shot reminds me of the one that she had at the 8th hole, the short par 4, where she had to kind of deal with a tight lie, lofting it up, getting over the edge of a bunker, but she doesn't have the undulation on the green to deal with. The putt, the surface is very flat.
Yeah, she's 5th on tour in scoring average so far this year, averaging 4.54. Nearly birdieing every other par 5.
I think she's ready to go. I mean, technically, Hye-Jin Choi is away, but she's gonna just get over this shot and let Hye-Jin go try to figure out what she has upcoming. Ooh, caught too much ball. Spin. Off the other side. Goodness. We've seen a few players do that this week.
Yeah, we saw it a little bit earlier in the week from Jessica Korda. Just, it's a diabolical green here. It slopes off each side and kind of scoops it a little bit. You can see that in the way she tried to get under that with her right hand.
Not much more of a more nerve-wracking shot than the last few holes of a major championship from the short grass. Got to nip it just perfectly.
And I think she has a harder shot now, Dan, than the one she just had.
And how many more players is she letting back into this championship? Again, Minjee Lee just posted 4 under. And all of a sudden, this par 5 has become tough work for Lexi. Also tough work for Choi, who's on the back of the green from the rough.
Yeah, interesting that the 2 players that had a chance of going for this green and 2 are not even on in regulation, where In-Ji Chun is sitting patiently awaiting her upcoming short birdie putt.
It's a little bit of deja vu, Katie, what we saw from In-Ji yesterday, just making a mess at this 16th hole.
This needs to slow down.
Get it.
Well,
the flagstick helped.
Almost took a big edge of that cup, but that just sounded like she got a lot of ball on that 4th shot. And so now Choi in danger of making another bogey. Would be her 3rd of the past 4 holes. And now what kind of shot is this for Lexi, Kay?
Well, she's got the putter out, which I think is a good call. It takes so much confidence and belief. You have to hit those little clipped shots off these tight lies with so much confidence and fearlessness. And after hitting it thinly on the last shot, she's going to use a putter. But she has to hit this really solidly or she will not get it up the slope. It's not an easy putt from here.
It's a tough putt to judge with so much fringe to putt through.
And only 9 feet of green to work with.
Too hard, huh?
Just powered it up the slope. Had to get it up there.
It's easy to do when you know that you have to hit it. It's like the last thing you tell yourself, just hit it. And you lose concept of the pace that way, but it's hard shot either way.
Now she's got a long putt for par there. We go to 17.
And the 19-year-old from Thailand is not out of this yet. This is her second to the 17th. Needs a birdie finish, and that, if it just stays up on the correct level, will give her a very good look at getting to 3 under par. Remember, 4 under is in the clubhouse. Minjee Lee, the clubhouse leader, and who knows how this is going to finish up. Back to 16.
Thompson now for par. Choi is short of the green, also with a par attempt coming up.
It looks like Choi is going to go. They're pretty close in distance away. And In-Ji Chun's going to keep a good look on this putt of Hae-Jin Choi. Her putt for par is her own putt for birdie is on a similar line. It looks like maybe it wants to move off, just peel a little right.
Choi is doing a bit of a free fall here in the last 4 holes. 3rd bogey. Has made a par since the 12th. So Choi drops to 1 under. At the moment 5 back of Lexi, but Lexi's not in for 6 under.
This course setup today, it is just so challenging out here. We started the day with 18 players under par. There are only 8 left at the moment. How many will be left by the end of the day?
Morgan, I still like that play with the putter off the putting surface, but it's so hard when you haven't done that in a while. I don't recall her putting off the putting surface that far up a hill all day.
She doesn't miss many greens either.
True.
This to keep a 2-shot lead. Minjee Lee, who's in at 4 under.
Sometimes it can be hard to read these putts that hardly have any break after you've faced so much break throughout the day. This is one of the flatter greens on the course.
If anything, Kate should maybe move a little left.
I like that read. Oh, goodness.
And you can see that again. She ended up at the end of the stroke all the way on her back foot.
That's almost 3 feet by.
That's twice as far about as the putt that she missed earlier at the 14th. Get to that in a moment. To 17.
Tidicum for birdie. And that gets her to 3 under par. This is a player who's already won this year on the LPGA Tour, and she won on the Ladies European Tour when she was 14 years old. Leading the Rolex Rookie of the Year race on the LPGA and looking for 3 birdies to finish the championship. Back over to 16.
And Chun has been waiting what seems like eternity for this birdie attempt. John Wood has joined this group with a call on In-Ji Chun here.
And she watched that Choi putt intently, watching it just drift a hair right as it lost its speed. She knows this is a great chance to grab all that momentum back on her side.
And with the craziness of this Sunday, it would be unreal if In-Ji Chun is the one who eventually emerges again as the champion. And that is a huge birdie putt for In-Ji Chun.
I love it. I love the way she has stayed patient out there. She has not gotten too upset with herself.
And Chun is going to be at least tied for the lead. Getting to 5 under. Lexi's going to lose at least 1 here. Back to 5 under, and this is the distance that has been so troublesome through all the years for bogey.
I'm nervous and anxious for her. I just hope she can put a good, normal stroke on this. Just really trust it.
See if she can keep her weight from falling back. Definitely better with her weight there.
But it's another lost stroke. for Lexi. 3 bogeys in the last 5 holes for her. And this is totally up for grabs. Minjee Lee in at 4 under. Thittikun is playing the 18th now. She had one of 2 rounds in the 60s yesterday, so she comes in with big-time weekend momentum. And there's Minjee Lee posing for pictures and wondering if she's going to lift another major championship trophy with 2 holes left for this final threesome.
It's the opportunity to take home 2 of the biggest paychecks in the history of women's golf, coming off the $1.8 million first prize at the Women's Open. And then again here with the $9 million purse.
Yeah, 2 richest purses in women's golf. Back to back.
Are they back on the clock there?
That was Mitch Moon from the LPGA as a rules official. And let's bring in Todd Gary from the PGA of America to give us more.
Yeah, so they, the last group, again, fell out of position with the group in front of them. So, as you said, the Mitch Moon from the LPGA did tell them that they're back on the clock. And hopefully we can get them back in position in the last couple of holes.
Oh, that is an extra bit of pressure to be on the clock with 2 holes to play in the championship, but they are behind. There's a clear hole in front of them. The next group is on the 18th, and it's a par 4. And now Inji Chun. John, what's the line she's going to take? Probably right at the bunker, I would think.
Yeah, there's a big crane in the distance just inside that bunker. That would be ideal for her. Just drip it over that hill and let it go down. Job 1 now. Just get the ball in the fairway anywhere. Put some heat on her. This is right over the top of that bunker.
That's going to be fine. It all kind of drifts down into the bottom. I don't want to go too far, but I think it's going to be absolutely fine. Now needs to avoid the divots. Watch it, watch it. Yes, okay.
A little off the left.
Yep, that's correct.
Now Lexi, longer hitter, you would think is going to go left of that line.
Yeah, I like the over the middle of the bunker, or at the hospitality tent in the distance, kind of at the peak of that.
She hit it way down there the other day, Tom. And she holed out for eagle with her second. I couldn't even believe how far that tee shot was.
Now this further right, I think, than she would have liked. It's going to just depend on how it hits on the side slope and where it ends up.
Yeah, just it's going to be absolutely fine. There's a bit of an upslope there, and just took some of the sting out of the drive, but she drove it right over the hill. It is tied at the top here at Congressional.
Championship in the home of golf. Lexi Thompson looking for a championship here, a major for the first time in 8 years for her. Inji Chun tied at 5 under, looking for her 3rd career major. Coming down to the wire here as they play the 17th.
Uphill second shot to this par 4, and the flag perched over on the right side. Down the breeze this hole. And as long as you avoid the divots, it should be a pretty straightforward second shot. I've seen a few players struggle on the green today. It's not been a difficult green to hit, but it hasn't yielded as many birdies as you would think. And we're going to go over to 18.
And this is Jennifer Chang. This has been a fabulous week for birdie to get in even par for the week. Jennifer Chang, 75 in this final round. Still an excellent showing for a young and really up-and-coming player.
Back over to the 17th, and Lexi just trying to get a good visual on this second shot. And who's going to be first to play down there?
Chun will be first to play.
Chun.
And a perfect position in the fairway. A blind shot. You cannot see the bottom of this flagstick, but you know exactly what's up there. You've got a helping wind, and it's uphill. I think those two are going to cancel each other out. It's going to play right about the number. Visually, you don't think you have room right at this flag, but it's actually the best. It's the easiest way to get it close is to take it a little right, spin it down that hill.
box is the flagstick right there.
Good looking shot. They need to stay on that hill.
Yeah, there's a slope there. Is it going to stay? It's right on the edge. She's going to have an uphill putt with a look at birdie.
How many right of it?
Lexi.
Oh, true. I'm not used to holding it.
He right. Numbers good there. Should be a little down from here. Down off of our left. I like the 110. I like the 110. Yeah. I like that.
This should just be a normal 50-degree wedge. That's what she comfortably hits, 115. If she's trying to hit it 110, she'll just take a little bit off of this.
Maybe she hold out here from 102 on Friday. Kick-started her championship. What will she do today? And that's going to be down in an area where we've seen that putt break left to right up the hill. So both of the leaders have birdie putts at 17 Sunday in the final round of the Women's PGA.
'19-year-old Atthaya Titicoon of Thailand needs a birdie to match Minjee Lee's 4-under in. Has a good look here at the 18th.
We've seen how to do it. Just a little bit right of the flagstick. Let the slope bring it in towards the hole. It's a little bit deep, but still giving herself an uphill look for birdie.
And when we have a moment, remind you that today's coverage is being brought to you by KPMG, transforming insights into opportunities. And it's been a red-hot championship Sunday here. Temperature approaching in the 90s at Congressional. The aerial coverage provided by Waystar on a journey to transform healthcare payments. On the new look blue course, we push right down into that final threesome at the 17th.
Yeah, where both of the leaders have birdie putts to come. And it will be the third member of the group to go first. Edwin Choi has just come up short, but is on the correct level, and looks like she's going to putt this one.
Yeah, 18 paces to the hole, Tom, and that's just about what she has here. Going to deal with some right to left movement.
Edging 4 over for the day.
But handling herself, and really, I think, going to be pretty happy with her tournament debut in the KPMG.
I have little doubt that she will be a winner on the LPGA Tour pretty soon, maybe before the end of the summer.
Well, any course after this is going to seem easy.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens at Muirfield if the wind blows there on the Scottish Links. The AIG Women's Open goes to Muirfield for the first time at the beginning of August. That'll be the 5th and final major of the year on the LPGA Tour. And I think Lexi is going to be next to go with the birdie putt.
And when I got up here and first took a look at this putt, I thought, oh goodness, this is not an easy putt. Chun has a pretty straightforward hole-high left putt. Just because Lexi hit it a little longer, a little deeper into the green, she now has to deal with a lot of left to right break and some speed.
Yeah, and we've seen this putt already a few times today, Kay. If you get tentative with it, it just keeps going to the right.
And if you hit it a little too firmly, it's going to zoom motor by.
Exactly.
I mean, this is one of those putts where you have to completely meld together the break and the speed.
But this is the kind of length of putt that Lexi likes.
Mm-hmm. Kind of reminds me back in the day of Helen Alfredsson, a great Swedish player, wonderful ball striker, but she was really comfortable, like Lexi, on these mid-range putts.
Just freeze her up a little bit, Kay. Kind of like that putt she made on 15. See if she can keep it down on her line.
Wasn't far away, but it drifts by into that awkward length. And that's what Lexi will have for the par. Now let's just see how close that came to going in. It did not need much more to drop.
Yeah, just carried a fraction too much pace, Tom. But she kept it. It was a good stroke. Kept it nicely on her line. The left to right putts are usually the more challenging putts for a right-hander.
Well, Chun spent a lot of time at the top of the leaderboard this week, and she's got a chance to get back there now on her own.
Yeah, Tom, and as Kay referenced, this is a green light special. It is up the hill, maybe slightly left to right, but no issue at all worrying about speed. And if she wants to take any break that she sees out of it, she can, because it's back up the hill.
She
Left
didn't
it
give it
short.
enough. Yeah. Well, that was an opportunity, a golden opportunity for Chun. It was for back-to-back birdies, and she remains 5 under. Let's go over to 18.
Must make for Titicoon to have a chance to match the 4 under leader. So Ataya Titicoon, the 19-year-old 5th ranked player in the world, who picked up her first win on the LPGA Tour earlier this season in her first year, making her championship debut. Not the last we're going to hear of this teenager.
No, I don't think it's going to be long before she hoists a major championship trophy of her own.
And back over to the 17th. Lexi Thompson with this putt to remain tied for the lead. Heart has got to be racing. Can she keep the demons out of her head? No. It's a 3 putt for Lexi at the wrong time.
Just pushed it there, Tom. Just a little bit of a cut in the stroke, which is what her tendency is when she doesn't make a perfect stroke. She tends to put a little bit of cut spin on the ball, and it was just enough to not allow that putt to break left.
Well, she's still got a chance to win, but she's making it very difficult for herself here. 1 shot behind now, and she will walk to the 72nd tee. And you wonder when Lexi is going to be able to get this next win.
Champion from a few years ago in this event, Hannah Green, finishing up for birdie at the last. Good week for the Australian, who won at Hazeltine in 2019. Again, that 75, not that bad considering the difficulty that the golf course has been dishing out today.
This is Hedgen Choi for a par, and that one goes missing, so that's going to be a bogey for Hedgen, and she is really slipping back. As Lexi makes the walk back up to the 18th tee, and it's going to seem like a pretty long walk, I would think, for Lexi right now.
All of America, you knew, Tom, we're feeling the same thing we were feeling when she was over that putt. It has just been replayed and replayed, and it is something that Lexi Thompson has had such great difficulty of erasing from her own psyche. And Chun now emerging to the tee here with a 1-shot lead after everything that she has been through this week. Shot 64, 69, had a 6-shot lead heading into the weekend. It was all about Lexi Thompson earlier today when she overtook Chun, took the lead by herself at the 4th hole. But now what's going to happen? It's come down to 3. Minjee Lee in at 4 under. Waiting to see what happens to Chun and Thompson here at the last. And a driver by Chun descended down this hill.
Yeah, Dan, and Morgan, nuts and bolts time. She actually has a higher ball flight and a spinnier ball flight, and obviously hits it shorter than Lexi does, but that might be better right now to keep the ball in the fairway. Lexi has that low, hot driver, and now that these fairways are running out, it's going to be tough to keep it in the fairway with how big it slopes.
Yeah, you have to hug those right bunkers. Try and get it land as close to the right side as possible, just to keep it in the fairway.
Starting down the center, she's leaning on it, so it's heading to tear right, but it's just going to go absolutely perfect inside those bunkers.
That driver has been a strong club for her all week, and once again here on the 18th hole with the one-shot lead. Look at how far that is rolling.
Stay out of the divots, stay out of the divots, right between two. But no one has played the 18th better than Chun. Birdied it the first 2 days, parred it yesterday, and a driver here for Lexi.
Sticking with her strength, which is this big club. She has absolutely tagged this driver all day.
Most difficult hole through 3 rounds, this 18th.
Up.
That's headed right.
Yeah, that's wow, over the bunkers. Just depends if it ricocheted off anybody and how the lie is over there in the rough.
I think she might be in a better spot than if she were in the bunker, but it will all depend on the lie.
18th hole here. Will it decide the KPMG Women's PGA Championship? Chun the leader by 1 with a beautiful drive down the par 4. Some more numbers to look at. Some insights brought to you by KPMG. The final round seesaw battle between Lexi Thompson and NG Chun. Chun started the round, led by 3. She's led after each of the first 3 rounds. After the 3rd hole, they were tied. Chun started making some bogeys. Lexi Thompson soared up the leaderboard, led by 1, then led by 2. And then they were tied after the 16th hole. Lexi's missed some short putts, and after 17, another short miss. Chun now has the lead by 1 as she looks for her 3rd major title. And while we have a moment, time for Go Like a Pro, presented by National Car Rental, our shot of the day. So it is possible to make an eagle at the last. Zhang Yun Lee 5 with her 2nd at the 18th hole earlier in the championship. 18 is more tame today after being the most difficult hole through 3 rounds. And Lee 5 proved it with an eagle. Also 10 birdies at this last hole today, so birdies a lot more in play than they have been through the first 3 days as well. Big crowd settling down around the 18th.
You guys can just put your
to see
cameras on
who's going to
silent,
win this. And Lexi Thompson, I understand, has a decent lie up there above the bunker, Kay.
She does indeed. Really lucked out, cleared the bunkers. She's actually in an area where the rough is a little shorter. It's a pretty flat lie, as opposed to the other players that are going to deal with the severe downhill lie and tilted lie.
And what about the lie for NG Chun, John?
Just a slightly right to left lie, but it is in an old divot. I don't think it's going to present much of a problem because she doesn't depend on a lot of spin to this hole. If you remember, Scotty Scheffler at the first hole of the U.S. Open on Sunday was in a similar divot, very shallow. It'll keep the ball down, but I don't think it's going to affect her shot too much.
Well, it's definitely a little bit of help there for sure.
Well, I have the help figured out. It's
yeah.
the cross.
Well, it should be. I mean, like I said, it should be straight south, so it should be
Off the right still.
correct. Yes, it's been good on that all day.
31. Make sure I carry it like 36.
Yeah, I like that.
36 down. I mean, I still want to make sure I get the height, so I want to have a little bit of pace on.
Right. I think I'm feeling somewhere on that.
30?
Like 30? Yeah, 30 is right where I was at. Okay. Right, let me get out of your way here.
139 actual yardage to the front, and they're calculating how much down this play is. 9 yards down, and then wind helping.
Needs to land somewhere around the front of the green, Kay.
Yes, and too far to the right, it starts sloping right to left. If she can just land it sort of middle or just a teeny bit right of middle, right at the front, would be ideal.
There's a pretty severe slope on the very front right of the green. Definitely want to avoid that because you could get a pretty bad ricochet after that one.
This is an aggressive line. Much more aggressive than I thought, but wow, what a result.
One arm off the club, and she knew that it was on the edge there on that left side of the flagstick. Haven't seen too many approaches on that side, Morgan.
Yeah, I think that was definitely a little more aggressive than she wanted to be. Thought maybe she tugged it a little bit and it would go long, but took a pretty soft bounce. Thought it might land a little bit firmer.
Will she have to make that putt?
133 left for Chun. That shot will not change this shot for her at all. It's a pitching wedge. Just aim it 15 to 20 feet out to the right, and it's a driving range swing. Just getting rid of some bugs there. Last 2 holes in divots, but she has not reacted at all to them. It's just sized it up and said, okay, here we go.
I kind of think that's the way she's handled herself all week, John. She hasn't really reacted when things haven't gone her way, and that's why she's in this position on the 18th hole with the 1-shot lead.
This is heading left. She's going to have to get a good bounce forward.
Oh, she hits off the downslope. Got an unlucky bounce. Definitely sounded like a miss strike. Didn't quite catch that solidly.
And that's not going to be an easy third shot. Just kind of settled up against the back collar for Chun.
I feel like that's kind of a fitting shot to this wild final Sunday we've had here, Dan. Just sounded a hair thin. Maybe, if anything, landed on the downslope, took a huge hop all the way back to that back edge, and like you said, Dan, kind of settled up weird. Oh, look at that. Firm greens. I'm gonna settle right into this. Not really a fringe cut here. Just settled into the rough. Looks like the lie might be okay, but I would imagine has to chip it.
It's just a tough hole to end a major championship on. As they come down the hill, large crowd giving an ovation, well deserved for Chun and Lexi Thompson. Chun, who has been living with this championship, with the lead since day one. 64. Gave her a huge 5-shot lead.
KPMG Women's PGA Championship. This is the 10:30 tee time. From Florida, Lexi Thompson. From the Republic of Korea, NG Chun.
The 19 different South Koreans that have won a women's major, but only 2 have won more than 2, and that is the company that In-Ji Chun is trying to join. Saeri Pak and In-Bi Park, both with 7. And don't forget about Min-Ji Lee in at 4 under. Needs a bogey by Chun to have a chance. But again, Lexi Thompson has a look at birdie, which could, who knows, win the championship here. So those are the 3 involved in the last few moments of this championship to be decided. All right, Chun is coming up to the hole here. First of all, what kind of shot is this just up against that fringe, Woody?
The good thing is she crawled up on top of the fringe. I think making contact is not going to be an issue for her. Had it stopped a few inches shorter, it would have been one of those ones where you have to go down to it to make contact in the center of the ball. I think that's fine. That being said, it's going to be a tough read speed-wise. She's got to go downhill, then back up a slope, and about 15 feet, it's going to go straight down a hill. So it's a tough speed read. Line-wise, I don't think that difficult. It's just going to fall to her right at the end.
You think putter's the right play here, John?
I do. I really do.
it's not going to hop too much coming out of that.
It's got the potential to hop, Morgan, but like they always say, I think if she hits a bad putt, it's going to be 8 to 6 feet. If she hits a good chip, it's probably 4 feet. I just think there's less complications with this club.
Yeah, looks like there's maybe a little bit of tough to grass there in front of the ball. Won't get rolling straight away.
Down at 2 here. It's going to force Lexi to make a birdie. Up and over the ridge. And now down, carrying a little bit of speed. All in all, not too bad.
Yeah, definitely just hopped just a touch, but she gave it enough pace to play for that. But, I mean, like John said, what's it, 6 feet or so? Probably a pretty good effort there with the championship on the line.
Minjee Lee's right there, of course, interested spectator. In at 4 under. The U.S. Track and Field Championship will be seen on CNBC here at the top of the hour for you track fans out there, as we bring you maybe the conclusion here at the 18th hole, 72nd hole. Hee-Jin Choi, who has made 4 bogeys in the last 5 holes to drift out of contention at even par. This for birdie.
Yeah, putting across almost the entire width of this green. Looking like a pretty good line and speed.
Really good line and speed. Slips back into red figures. Hee-Jin Choi with a long one at the last. So Lexi Thompson, can she make this birdie putt? Can she survive 4 birdies down the stretch of this final 9 here to give herself a chance?
Morgan, this is one of those putts you look at and it just feels good. It's just coming off a slight downhill slope. You won't have any problem getting the speed on this. Be curving a little to the right and then starts flattening out a little bit as it nears the hole. And almost kind of starts going uphill a little bit.
I was going to say, just maybe back slightly up the hill here at the end. You can't expect Inji in this situation to miss this putt. Lexi needs to get this one to the hole.
This to get to 5 under, the number where Chun is at the moment. It was low all the way. It never had a chance. So a tap in for par for Lexi, tying Minjee Lee's 4 under number, and that'll put the full focus on Inji Chun for par to win the championship. Just too many putts, all those at short range for Lexi Thompson, but still with a chance, as Chun has to make this to take Lexi and Minjee Lee out of it. What a journey this has been for Chun. Out to that historical start on Thursday and Friday. 7-shot lead yesterday, all of it gone today, and then in this position to win her 3rd major.
Morgan, I think you were exactly right. It's about 5 feet. She watched this putt go past the hole, so she should know it kept moving to her right coming down that hill, so this should just have a little bit of right to left at it.
It's a very comfortable putt for a right-hander. And I mean, her putting stroke, especially, think of how she putted that first round. She's made a lot of really solid putts this week. Did she make one here?
Yeah, this to cap off one of the most topsy-turvy championships we've seen in a long time. Back to the top for Chun after the incredible start. This to win her 3rd different women's major. Chun perseveres and wins the championship with a clutch par putt at the 72nd hole. Been carrying the weight of this championship since that historic 64 on Thursday. She shot 75-75. On the weekend, the highest closing 36-hole total of a winner on the LPGA since Sairi Pak opened the floodgates in that U.S. Women's Open at Black Wolf Run in 1998. And so South Korea would get another major champion. 3-time major champion In-Ji Chun closes it out. And the story continues for Lexi Thompson. The disappointments of big-time major championship Sundays, they just continue with a 73. Had all sorts of opportunities again today. It was her championship to win or lose. And unfortunately for Lexi and her fans, won back in that tie for second with Min-Ji Lee. As we update the race to the CME Globe, Min-Ji Lee still on top. And In-Ji Chun goes 15 spots up into the top 10 in the 8th position as we send you down to Catherine Tappan.
Dan, thank you so much, and I'd like to introduce the president of the PGA of America, Jim Richardson.
Yes, on behalf of our partners with the LPGA Tour, title sponsor KPMG, the PGA of America, and the 28,000 members around the country that grow the game every day, it's my pleasure to introduce the 2022 KPMG Women's PGA Champion, In-Ji Chun.
In-Ji, congratulations. Now a 3-time major champion, and you did it with enormous pressure and the entire weekend. What can you say about this championship victory for yourself?
It just means a lot because I didn't have any wins last almost 3.5 years. So I really appreciate it to my old sponsor, KB and Deloitte, SAP, Tegoir, Ping, and Strixon and Nike because they always believe in me. So I really appreciate it. And my family and my coach, my managers, Justin and Yoon, and my caddy, and my Flying Dumbo fans in Korea, they never give on me, like no matter how I did. So thanks so much, and I really enjoyed the rolling the ball this week. So thank you for all the greenkeepers at Congressional Golf Club here. So thank you.
Congratulations, In-Ji. Dan?
You can hear and see how appreciative she is. Breaking an 0 for 76 winless streak worldwide. That victory had been a long time coming for In-Ji Chun, even though it was her 3rd major championship. Well, you can join our crew next for the 150th Open at St. Andrews, July 14th to the 17th on NBC USA and Peacock. Coming up next from Eugene, Oregon, the USA Track and Field Championships right here on NBC. What a week at Congressional for our entire NBC Sports crew. Dan Hicks saying so long from Bethesda. In-Ji Chun survives the field and wins the championship.